He's Radio Jack. And if it happens in San Diego's Navy, you will find out about it on the Go Navy Show. From the skies overhead to the carrier decks below, San Diego was built on the U.S. Navy, and this is their show. And now, Radio Jack on TV and the Go Navy Show.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Go Navy Radio. Used to be radio, now it's television. Go Navy TV Show. The Go Navy TV Show is in part brought to you by Navy Mutual. And my first guest on the show today is someone that I've known for a few years now because he does an outstanding job and their organization does an outstanding job. I have with me Richard Evert, who is the president of the U.S. Navy League San Diego. I got that right.
You got it right, Jack.
Right.
Thank you for inviting the Navy League onto the program in your first inaugural TV show.
Yes, first inaugural TV show and my first guest. And one of the things that I like about Navy League are all the great things you do for our community. And that's military and including non-military, because I know you have a student scholarship program and other things. So why don't you bring us up to date on, first of all, let's do a little history because this is a new audience. Tell us a little bit how the Navy League was formed and what the San Diego chapter does.
The Navy League nationally was formed over 100 years ago by President Teddy Roosevelt. Recall in the early part of the 20th century, our Navy was pretty small, and under President Roosevelt, he established what was called the Great White Fleet. It was painted white, and the Navy wanted to increase its profile worldwide. That fleet was sent on a deployment in 1905 around the world, and it was the first real Navy presence in the steam age, and was a remarkable testament to America at the time. President Roosevelt wanted to establish broad support for the U.S. Navy within the U.S. Navy population, and so he established the Navy League. The Navy League today and in that time had four goals. First, we wanted to educate our national leaders and the general public. We wanted to provide support for the men and women of the sea services, which of course means Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Merchant Marine. We wanted to provide assistance and support to the families of those sea service personnel. And we wanted to establish programs for youth, including their ability to understand the sea and how to operate on the sea, as well as to further their education. So those four goals remain in existence today, and we have a whole series of programs to support those. We welcome home ships and have events as the ships depart. We have breakfast and lunches every month to support and award sea service personnel for their good work. We have programs, one of which is called Operation Homefront, which supports the sea service families as they move into San Diego and are in need of such things as routine furniture and distribution of those kind of items. Volunteers help with setting up their households. And we have a whole series of programs for youth, including the Sea Cadet program, which we sponsor. And that Sea Cadet program has opportunities for young men and women, 9th to 12th grade, to go to sea or to go aboard ships. They also have the opportunity to participate in marlin spike seamanship, how to sail, how to tie knots, how to actively participate in Navy events. And in many cases, they go on to either join the Navy and Marine Corps, or they go to college and go through the ROTC program.
So would you say it's sort of like the Boy Scout program, but for Navy?
It's for Navy men and women across the spectrum of individuals, and it spans almost every high school in San Diego has a program like this. And I was privileged to attend one particular graduation last May where there were 140 NJROTC and Sea Cadets graduating that were part of the high school's program. 40 of them graduated. Many went on to college under NROTC or ROTC scholarships, and many enlisted.
Fantastic. And how is it different, the Sea Cadets different than ROTC?
The Sea Cadets is intended to train individuals in the basics of the U.S. Navy, whether it's sailing or Navy operations. There are tours, there are programs that the students in which they can participate. The ROTC is a Reserve Officer Training Corps, and it's intended to foster education throughout college, leading to a commissioning in one of the services after graduation.
So I know you do a lot of events. What was your most recent event, and what do you have coming up?
We are establishing about an event a month, including such things as in March, the Enlisted Woman of the Year. We bring together all of the commands around San Diego who have nominated a woman from both the junior service and the senior service, meaning they're more senior individuals, both ashore and at sea. And those commands bring all of their nominees into a wonderful luncheon this year at the Town and Country, attended by more than 150 people. And at the luncheon, the 4 winners are awarded from the Navy League various prizes in conjunction with their selection from that large group of individuals. The prizes include dinners and certificates and plaques and tour opportunities. It's really a very nice way to recognize individuals who have excelled in their individual commands.
And so when they are presented this award, not when they're presented, but when they are put in for the award, their command puts them in for the award. Is it voted on? Is it their commanding officer that puts them in? How do they select? And
generally, each command has a committee of senior enlisted personnel that review the records, and then they select a junior and a senior person. Mm-hmm. After each command has done that, they forward that to their parent commands. Those commands in turn select the 4 individuals. So it's an all Navy selection or all Marine Corps selection issue, and then the Navy League provides the awards.
And is it through recommendation? In other words, because we may have people watching right now that are in the military and they say, gee, I would like to win that award. Can they put themselves in, or is it put in by the command without them knowing about it?
They are nominated from within the ranks of the command, and generally their good performance is recognized around that command, so it's generally not a surprise that they were a nominee. Oh, okay. What is a surprise is the award eventually at the top level. And I attended a ceremony just a few weeks ago in which Admiral Mark Rich, who is Commander Navy Region Southwest, had 12 individuals from around his commands, which stretch from Reno, Nevada to the border and all the way out to El Centro. Those 12 individuals were on the stage aboard USS Midway, and an awardee was not announced at that point. The awardee generally can expect a meritorious promotion out of that, and certainly all kinds of prizes because they've done excellent work over the previous year.
That's one of the fantastic things that the U.S. Navy League does here in town. You also, in the past, have hosted AFCEA and other events here in town. Can you tell us about some of the other events that you participate in?
Every month, the Navy League hosts a breakfast at the Admiral Kid Club, where we have speakers and the general public is allowed to come in and listen to those speakers. Last month it was Admiral Rich, but on the 5th of February at the Admiral Kid Club, we'll have Vice Admiral Nora Tyson, who is the commander of 3rd Fleet, and she'll be speaking to us at that time. The public is invited, and we have many venues throughout the year that allow the public to come in and listen to Navy and Marine Corps leadership and how they do their jobs.
And you have an outstanding group of individuals that are, I'm assuming, a volunteer organization?
We have several hundred volunteers, and then we have a leadership program which encompasses individuals who dedicate themselves to a particular part of Navy League. One is for scholarships, one is for recognition, one is for the sea services, and so forth.
That's fantastic. And you are a retired Navy personnel, so I assume a lot of them are retired Navy personnel, but you're open to volunteers of all types.
We indeed welcome volunteers from throughout the community, and it's our pleasure and honor to serve the Sea Service personnel in a broad spectrum of activities which we've talked about.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being on my first show. Thank you for being my first guest, and we'll have you back many more times.
It's been a great privilege. Thank you for the invitation.
Don't go away. We'll have a lot more when we come back. Hi everybody, welcome to Go Navy TV. I'm excited to introduce my guest today, Rudy, and I'm not going to say your last name, you're going to say it.
It's Shappee, like happy.
Like happy, oh perfect. Rudy happens to be on one of the most famous and most visited museums in the country, which is right here in San Diego, the USS Midway. And we're very proud to have him on Go Navy Radio. Rudy, tell me, what is your job? How did you get involved in the USS Midway?
Well, I was in the Navy for 20 years, and I was in public education for 20 years. And I was teaching at San Diego State when I heard that the Midway may be coming to town. And so I immediately went over to North Island and volunteered to restore aircraft. And we didn't have the ship yet, but we had a place to restore old broken planes, and so I started out there. And when the ship finally came to the city in 2004, I was able to come aboard. I helped restore the ship. Because I was an educator, they had me establish the docent program and the educational programs, a number of other things. So I have fingerprints all over the ship for the last, actually 14 years.
And actually some hands-on fingerprints on some of the aircraft.
Absolutely, and if you go over there, you go through all those exhibits, I was the one that designed and developed most of those.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, we're talking to the right guy today then, and I really would like to know a little bit more about what people can expect when they come to the USS Midway, as far as not only the ship itself, but the aircraft aboard on the deck.
We have an air wing of over 21 aircraft, helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, and they're all restored to the Vietnam era or through about 1991-92 is what we try to keep everything set at. And so a big flight deck, 4.2 acres of 3-inch steel up there. Yeah, it's like a farm. You know, as a matter of fact, sometimes we called it the beach or the farm. I'm going up to the farm. I'm going up to the beach because it was so big. And then we have the main hangar deck, and then down we call it City at Sea, which is all down deep inside the ship, where we provide all the services for the food and church and laundry and all those things that we need to support 4,500 men at sea for sometimes 70, 80, or 90 days. And we've kept the ship as much as possible like it was, while still retelling the story. It's a fine line you can walk. You can end up with an aircraft carrier filled with cases, glass cases with displays on with small labels that no one reads, or you can make it look like it actually was, and then by using photographs and mannequins and that sort of thing, show people what living conditions and working conditions were like. And that's what we've tried to do during our tenure.
Yeah, and you have an overnight program as well. People can actually experience it.
Yes, we have an overnight program. They can sleep in those wonderful Navy bunks up forward, eat Navy chow.
Navy chow. Oh, I can't wait.
Yep, Navy chow, everything. As a matter of fact, we put them into the overnighters into air wings, and they compete against one another and do leadership activities and all that sort of thing. And we're just next month, we're going to be opening a junior skippers program for ages 4 through 6. We've been working for about 4 years, rebuilding the living conditions aboard ship to downsize them to take care of those little kids. That was a problem we had at the very beginning, was how are we going to take care of the little kids with the short legs? So we've been re-engineering the ship to do just that. So that's going to be opening very soon.
Yeah, because, they have ladders and things to climb. Do they do everything?
That's the problem, is the average age aboard that ship was 19.
Oh, okay.
And we were either working, eating, or sleeping.
Yeah.
And ladders were nothing to us. We were up and down ladders all day, but we've had to re-engineer the ship to accommodate people who are not used to that kind of a lifestyle and who are much older. And so we've put in what we call bunny slopes, which are standard fall staircases, so people can get up and down without getting out of breath or anything like that. So we're working hard to accommodate while still telling as much of the true story as we can.
And each one of the people that are on your team, they know something about the area that they're in. Tell me a little bit about the crew, the volunteers that you have on board your ship.
Well, we have over 800. It's
Okay,
really,
I want
it's really
you
funny.
to identify each one. No,
It's really funny when I meet people and say, "Oh, you're on the Midway. Do you know so and so?" I was a volunteer. Well, there's only 800 volunteers, so it's kind of hard to know them all. But we have volunteers in a number of different departments, from engineering to management to guest services and so on. I am mainly concerned with the docent program, and the docents are guides and storytellers. And I remember when I trained my first team, I said, "Guys, remember when you have your family gatherings and it's Thanksgiving and all the grandchildren are gathered around and you start telling about how it was when you were up there at 30,000 feet and everybody falls asleep." I says, "Just think, you're going to be able to do that here, and everybody's from Ohio and they've never heard your story before, so they're going to just be glued to you, and you're going to be able to tell that story over and over and over again to people from all over the world." And so that's what we do. And we're trained to stand a watch in every station aboard the ship.
Wow.
Not just one. We have a very thorough training program for our volunteers. They don't have to be Navy. We have Army people, Air Force, Marines, civilians who've never seen the Navy except to look across the bay. And they can tell you about every part of that ship.
Well, and I know we have people in our viewing audience that may want to volunteer or get involved with your docent program. How would they get a hold of you or someone on board the ship to volunteer?
We have a wonderful website. I mean, it's pretty easy, www.midway.org, and there's a volunteer sticker at the top. You can go right down there and
push the volunteer button, folks.
Push volunteer button, and it scrolls down. There's an application, puts you in touch with Lori Switzer, our wonderful coordinator of all the volunteer programs aboard, and we'll bring you right aboard and train you. We're very proud is that we'll train you to do whatever you want to do aboard Midway. You don't have to have previous skills. You want to do ship's restoration, work on engines, we'll train you to do that. You want to talk to people, we'll show you the secret handshake. And by the way, a problem that we're encountering now is that 40% of our guests are from Asia, and they're and we're marketing very aggressively in Asia and Mexico. So we're having a big influx of Asians, and so there's a language difficulty there.
Sure.
So we now have interns from China who are working with us to talk with the Chinese guests and the Japanese guests, and we have our audio tours in 5 different languages. So we're pretty accommodating to that worldwide population.
So if you're bilingual in another language other than English,
oh yes,
we are needed. You are needed.
Yes.
Rudy needs you.
Yes, as well as our engineering department really needs people to get down there and work on that big heavy equipment, not to lift it, just to work on it.
Well, actually, I mean, can they actually fire up the engine? No.
No, the agreement with the Navy is we can't get underway. So if you look down at the engine compartments, there are giant sections of the engines that have been unbolted and have fallen away. And we even had to have it towed down here.
Oh.
Okay, so it didn't come down under our own power. So no, we can't get underway, nor would we want to.
That brings up a question. Where was it towed from?
It was towed from Bremerton, Washington. It was in mothballs in Bremerton, Washington for 12 years. And then when we finally took possession of the ship, we brought it to San Francisco to paint it, and painted it over on the east side of the bay, and then towed it the rest of the way down here.
Well, I can certainly see why you're the #1 attraction in San Diego, and probably, what are your numbers as far as visitors go?
Our business plan when we opened the ship was to see 450,000 people a year. This year we went over 1.3 million.
Oh my gosh.
So we're very, very...
That's a success story.
And it's location,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah.
It's right down there on the Harbor Drive. It's right there. When the tour ships come in, what do they see? When the airplanes land, what do they see? We're right there. It's a great place.
Wow. Okay, well, any parting comments, things you'd like to say, tell our folks?
We are, another nice thing we like to do is we provide free services for the active duty military. It's very difficult after 9/11 to get people on an air base or a ship. So now we have those ceremonies, retirements, change of commands, everything aboard ship for free, so people can get their families aboard and take care of those ceremonies. We're very proud of that we offer that service.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, Rudy, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to look forward to my next visit there, and I'm going to come and see you because you are the man.
Yes.
All right, everybody, thanks for being on the show today, Rudy, and we will be back with more right here on Go Navy TV.